Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank the honourable member for raising this question today. By way of background, Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Lands, in particular the Department of Mineral Resources in Namibia, is tasked with the management and development of groundwater resources throughout Fiji, and they rely heavily on the expertise of their staff that has been developed through formal training, on-the-job experience, and exposure to available technologies to survey our landscape and manage these vital, but it's an invisible resource. Groundwater, as you know, Mr. Speaker, sir, is one of the world's most valuable natural resource, as it provides safe drinking water, supports agriculture, and sustains industries such as mineral water bottling. However, Mr. Speaker, unlike surface water or river water, groundwater is hidden beneath the earth and cannot be directly observed or measured. Therefore, it makes its assessment a very challenging or risky task. The accuracy and efficiency in locating groundwater is crucial, as its availability depends on specific geological formations. Honourable Speaker, to assess potential groundwater sources, the Ministry has employed in the past electrical resistivity tomography, or ERT, as they call it. ERT is a non-invasive geophysical technique that measures subsurface resistivity. This method involves injecting an electrical current into the ground through electrodes and then recording the voltage difference, allowing us to generate 2D images of underground structures. These images reveal key features such as perched aquifers, saturated zones, geographical faults, and layers which are impenetrable. ERT has been instrumental in identifying drilling targets over the many years since our independence. However, the method is labor-intensive and it is time-consuming, limiting the number of boreholes we can identify and drill on an annual basis. Additionally, as groundwater is an abstract and hidden resource, no method is without limitations, and uncertainties in borehole outcomes remain. But this year, Honourable Speaker, the Ministry has took a major step forward in adopting airborne geophysical survey technology, and we are grateful to have entered into partnership with Geoscience Australia and supported by the Australian government through our Vuvale partnership. This method is conducted using aircraft and allows us to survey large areas more rapidly and efficiently than ground-based ERT method. The survey, Honourable Speaker, was launched last month and will cover priority areas on Viti level and Vanua level. They are not being currently serviced by Fiji Water Authority and where water scarcity is known to be an issue. So recently, Honourable Speaker, there is a helicopter with around 30-meter diameter formation hanging below it that's flying through certain parts of Fiji. That is the technology that I have just explained. And the survey areas, Mr. Speaker, will include the Singatoka Valley, Zubu, Tuba, Malo Malo, Wai, and Momi, Bitongo Flats to Lololo, coastal corridors from Tavua to Rakiraki, Toke Malo, Nalawa, Nalamba, Nakuelava, and Matasu, Lomaihuna, and the Verata to Namara corridor. In Vunolevu, Beketi to Senganga, Sasa and Wailevu in Maduata, including Tambia. Parts of Lambasa, including Nandongo, Namuka, and Dongtuki, Undu Peninsula, and the southern part of Taviuni. This survey, Honorable Speaker, will run until November of this year, and it's expected to produce hundreds, potentially thousands of drilling targets by December 2025. As I previously mentioned, Honorable Speaker, groundwater drilling is the final stage of the survey process. While science continues to reduce uncertainties, not all boreholes yield sufficient water. Currently, our ministry maintains a success rate of 80%, and with this new technology, we're hoping to raise this to 90%. Honorable Speaker, looking ahead, the integration of airborne geophysics and the engagement of 4 private drilling companies over the next 3 years will significantly increase the number of communities that will benefit from groundwater development. The anticipated outcomes would include improved health outcomes, particularly for our children and our elderlies, enhanced community productivity and livelihood, better academic performance through reliable water access through our schools, and reduced government spending on water kaki. Madam Speaker, with these advancements, we are confident that more Fijian communities will gain access to a sustainable and secure water supply, contributing to their well-being and community resilience. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.